Yes. And I think we're good to go. Hello and welcome back, everyone. Nick Marro here with Jayhawk and Occupy Fantasy. As always, helping you break down tonight's NBA DFS main slate on both DraftKings and FanDuel. Feels great to be back. First regular season slate of the season. We got two games for you. About to get through all these comments, but Jayhawk, how we feeling, my man? It's good to be back here with you.
Man, I've been looking forward to this day all NFL season, man. But it's finally back. We got Luka, we got the Lakers, we got SGA, we got OKC. It should be a fun one.
Yeah, man. In NFL and UFC, which I've been playing, obviously, it's like if you have a bad day, you got to wait a week unless you're playing showdowns to kind of get it back. The good thing about NBA and the real beauty of it is one bad day, you're on to the next. So we're back. We're ready to go. Appreciate you guys being here. As always, like, subscribe to the channel. Let's get to these shout outs real quick. We got Ben Jizzy, Luke. Appreciate you guys. Heath was new last year. Now he's a vet here with us. We got Carmen here. Let's get through these real quick. Hawk, so many of you today. David, Bat, always good to see you, my man. The Prince here, Swerve. I know a lot of these guys have been grinding preseason. I know Swerve's been in there with Smitty and Chuck. I believe they're on tomorrow. Shouts out Boyle, our fearless leader here on the NBA team. Speak of the Devil, there's Chuck himself. Cooper Flags, biggest hater. Unicorn Love here. Good evening, all money time. And my fellow Nick Bass / Base here. Appreciate you, my man. But yeah, tonight we got two games to talk through. One more shout. I got to get to this one, obviously. Power, our guy. But yeah, Eason didn't get that rookie extension. Robert Davis in there too. But yeah, guys, as you got questions, feel free to get them in. We're going to go 45 minutes or so. Only two games, though. We could get a little bit of strategy, things like that if we need to. But yeah, we got the starting lineup for the Rockets. They're big. They're huge. They're tall. I think it's the tallest lineup for starters, I think, in the modern era. I mean, there's been others that are close. But yeah, shortest guy here. We got Thompson at 6'7". The rest of these guys are listed at 6'11". Let's do the team by team, man. I think that's probably going to be the way to go. We got Thompson starting next to Durant, Smith, Sengun, Adams. They're going very big, right, with this big front court, Adams next to Sengun. But with Van Fleet out for the year, we've been seeing Sengun kind of running the offense a little bit more in the preseason, even with the addition of a Kevin Durant. Pretty interesting situation here. Obviously not the best matchup taking on this OKC defense, but two games, I don't think we want to look too deeply into that. Jayhawk, just kind of give me your overall feelings for Houston, and then we can dig a little deeper into these guys.
Yeah, so out of all these teams tonight, I think Houston's probably overall my least favorite. I think probably my favorite out of the top studs here probably would be Sengun, 9,200. Fills up a center spot that isn't necessarily incredible tonight. So I was kind of looking at Sengun the most here. Eamon Thompson, I think, looks great in tournaments. Tough matchup here, having to guard SGA potentially. But I think Eamon looks great at his price. So like Eamon in tournaments, love Sengun and GPPs. And then I'm getting a bunch of Jabari Smith and GPPs as well on DraftKings. How about you?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these rotations look. I mean, I don't think they could stay big the entire time, but you got big guys that can pass, obviously, with Thompson, with Sengun in particular. What's the usage going to look like here? I mean, obviously, KD, when he was next to Booker, kind of played 1B to Booker's 1A. I don't know. I think we could maybe see him in more of a 1A type role here. It's tough to really get to KD a lot, given where he's priced compared to some of the other pay-ups. Looking at ownership right now for Houston, no surprise to see Thompson way up there on DK. Smith, Adams, Eason. Sengun, though, single digits. I get that he's expensive, but I'm with you, man. I think if we're looking for a way to get a little bit different, getting to some Sengun certainly makes sense. We haven't projected for over 30 minutes. Obviously, that's a good thing. We do have Adams as center only on both sites, which makes him a little bit tougher to get to. But in terms of point per dollar value, certainly one of the guys I'm going to have circled. I'm sure we're going to get questions in before I even look, but what are your feelings of one Reed Shepherd? I know this is a preseason kind of darling. A lot of guys like this kid. I mean, he can shoot the ball well. We've seen him get hot at times. But I don't know. What's the rotations going to look like? Udoka, a guy who definitely cares about defense more than some other coaches. Maybe a short leash on him, even with the short guard rotation. But Shepard's someone I have circled that I want to get into tournament lineups, but I think it's kind of a proceed with caution situation. The minutes are going to be there for him, and if they do get a little bit smaller, he's someone who should be one of the first guys off the bench. How you feel about Reed here?
Yeah, so I think Reed, in terms of the overall season, I really like. In terms of DFS, just for tonight, I think he's fine in tournaments. Like you mentioned, I totally agree there. But I'm a little bit hesitant to get a bunch of him tonight, just because, like you mentioned, defensive wise, I don't think they love having him out there. And then I just like some other value plays overall. So I think he's fine in GPPs. But in terms of cash game and stuff, I would definitely stay away from him.
Yeah, as far as the bench guys go, Eason, who Power brought up, obviously now he's in a contract year. You're going to have to be grinding for that money. 5,300 on DK, 54 over on FanDuel. We have him for 25 minutes. He's a beast, fantasy points per minute, so he's someone I want to get to. But then we have Shepard as like the next most minutes off the bench at 24. I would be shocked if this ownership held. We have him at 2% and 1% respectively right now. I don't know. I think he's going to at least hit 10 just because of the name value, because people want to play this kid. And obviously, there's not much guard depth here, but I don't know. Are you getting to a lot of Eason? Are you interested in any of these other value guys? I know Okogie, someone who can maybe see a few extra minutes here. Not someone I'm really getting excited to play, though. But yeah, Capella is the backup center. I don't know. It would probably take foul trouble for Sengun or Adams for him to really get much run.
Yeah, I think Eason, in terms of like Eason versus Shepard, I think I do prefer Eason as of right now off the bench. You know, he's had that huge role for Houston last season. Coming back here, he should be the trusted guy here. So I do like Eason in tournaments a little bit. And then in terms of the bigs and backup bigs, I think Clint Capella and Steven Adams are both kind of hard to trust here, especially if OKC kind of runs small. So at any time, so I don't necessarily love any other value guys outside of maybe Eason.
Yeah, off what you're saying, I mean, it is an option, I guess, for OKC to run small, but having Hartenstein and Holmgren in there, they are one of the bigger teams. So maybe Houston does run a little bit more Adams than we're used to. Maybe that trickles down to Capella. Our man Jose here, another great regular. Good afternoon, Nick and Jayhawk. New season's going to be off the hook. We're going to use this as a segue, man. Appreciate you helping with the production. But who's going to start for Jalen Williams? Jayhawk, has that lineup come out yet? I don't think so. My gut is telling me Case and Wallace, but I'm seeing all different projected lineups. Do you think it's going to be Wiggins, Wallace? Could Caruso slide in? I don't really know.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Kaysen's kind of been the guy they slid in, especially last year. He played a lot starting, so I think probably Kaysen. They could go Caruso, but I think it's probably Kaysen. I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you. Shouts out Chris Davis. We are back indeed. Lots of great comments. I'm going to try to get to all of them. If I don't, please forgive me. But a lot of season here to get you guys all featured. Unicorn as well. Jason, appreciate you. Question from Chris, though, and this is another good segue into OKC. Is there a chance the winning lineup tonight does not have Luka or SGA? So before we answer this question, I do want to bring up our current ownership projections on these guys. We have SGA around 75% on DK, 91 on FanDuel. Comparatively speaking, I mean, Luka we see at around 40 and 37. If I'm being honest, I think we have SGA a little bit too high. Maybe this settles by the time we get closer to lock. I think Luka without LeBron, we saw it last year, definitely someone we want to be getting to. And he's thin, he's slim. I mean, it seems like he's locked in. I definitely like Luka here. Slightly prefer Luka of the two, but if we're looking at OF index, SGA is actually rating as the better play by a decent margin. So I guess first things first, how much SGA are you getting to? How are you ranking him against Luka? And what are you expecting from the field? Because I think most lineups have one or the other. To answer Chris's question, it's possible that maybe the late game really goes off with guys like Curry, and maybe Chet has a huge game in the early. I don't know. It's like for one of these guys not to be in the optimal, I'd be pretty surprised, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, is it possible? Sure. Would it be one of my first builds? Certainly not. I do slightly prefer Luka though, but looking at the model, I need to kind of hesitate a little bit because that gap in OF index is certainly notable.
Yeah, I did not expect to see SGA being so much higher than Luka. Just want to shout out Chuck, another NBA guy here. I love Luka tonight, especially at the ownership discount here. Great match against Golden State. Historically, he's been very good against Golden State, so I do much prefer Luka at the current ownerships. But I mean, both of them are great. SGA obviously can go for 40, 89 as well. So I would prefer Luka slightly to SGA.
Yeah, so in the same breath as I'm saying we get Luca without LeBron, we're getting SGA without Jalen Williams. And the first question we had was what we thought what the starting lineup would look like. But more than anything, it's going to be a little bit of a trickle down for these secondary players. I mean, Wiggins, whether he starts or not, is someone we've seen score a lot off the bench. I'm more on DK. I think you are as well. But on FanDuel, 3,900 for Aaron Wiggins, regardless of whether he's in the starting lineup or not, to me is one of the best value plays on the slate. We're projecting him around 55% ownership. Definitely someone I'd be getting too heavy over there, comfortable even coming in above that. Lou Dort is always as boom or bust as it gets. If he's hitting his threes, he's going to look really good. He's probably going to be glued to KD for a decent amount of this game. Obviously, positionless basketball. We don't want to look too deeply into individual matchups. And we got one from Swerve here, another segue. Appreciate you, man. Two things will happen with Heyman tonight is good defense will limit SGA or SGA will quickly have him in foul trouble. I mean, that is true. SGA is kind of going against a huge lineup here. He's going to be cutting into the paint. And I kind of want to use this as an opportunity to discuss. I mentioned this to you before we went live. There's a new rule in the NBA this year. There's actually a couple. One is that you can heave at the end of a quarter or a half, and it's not going to count against your shooting percentage. So maybe we see more full court shots. Not something we're really going to factor in, right? But something we maybe do want to factor in. If a player touches another player's hand while he's shooting, regardless of where it is in the shooting motion, that is now going to be a foul. So for guys who already get to the line like SGA, that's big. It's going to be bigger for someone like Curry, who takes a lot of jump shots, who we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, just something to monitor early in the season. We might see even more whistles, which kind of sucks for the product, but definitely favors guys like SGA and Curry who do get favorable refereeing from time to time. But Jayhawk, any thoughts on that? And yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on this matchup for SGA? Because I think the extra usage without Jalen is going to make up for the tough matchup.
100% agreed, and we're going to see more of SGA free throw merchant as everyone likes to call him. So I think obviously SGA, we already covered him. Looks great. I love the Aaron Wiggins call, man, on both FanDuel and DraftKings, especially with all these other OKC value guys. Very chalky. I think he looks great, especially off the bench. You can almost get that correlation with SGA starting Wiggins off the bench, get that double correlation there. So I love him on both sides in tournaments. And then, yeah, we haven't got to Shet, but I think he's a very interesting GPP play. I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on the rest of OKC value and then also Shet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping Wiggins doesn't start because I think it'll keep his ownership down, especially on FanDuel. On DK at 5K, I do think it stays reasonable, but obviously we'll see a spike if he's starting for Kaysen. But yeah, man, I mean, obviously guys like Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein should be able to see a few more shots. During the playoffs last year, it was kind of tricky. Hartenstein wasn't as heavily involved. I think the biggest reason for that was they were giving Caruso a full run of minutes. And I know Caruso profiles as a pretty good play here, but I think we have him back down to around 20 minutes. We have him at 26. So this is tricky, right? In these first few slates of the year, we're going to have to keep an eye on things like this. So most of the regular season, Caruso was capped around 20 minutes. Then in the playoffs, they kind of let him just go. I think we could see something similar here. Obviously, they really care about his health and kind of keeping him in shape for whatever reason. He gets kind of treated with training wheels. But it is a trend. It is something to monitor. But yeah, man, I'm always comfortable getting to some Chet. And it's funny, last year I really wasn't high on him coming into the season. This is a guy who's definitely made me eat my own words and hold that L. But yeah, I like him here. I think the extra usage for him could be key. And if Udoka and the Houston Rockets are really trying to key in on SGA and slow him down, someone like Chet could benefit in a big way. I think he has the higher ceiling than Hartenstein by a wide margin. I definitely trust the minutes more. Definitely does more on the offensive end. But yeah, I think Wiggins and Wallace is like secondary plays more than anything I'm really interested in. It's tricky. Like, I think unless you're game stacking, I'd almost rather have more OKC in my Luka lineups without SGA. And if I'm playing SGA, I'll maybe just get away from OKC a little bit, kind of hoping that SGA is the one kind of absorbing all the scoring there. But yeah, man, which of these secondary guys are your favorite? I mean, I think it has to be Chet, but when we're talking about pricing, point per dollar, I mean, obviously Hartenstein looks a little bit more appealing.
Yeah, I think out of these secondary guys, I think Hardenstein's probably my favorite point per dollar, at least on DraftKings for sure. Definitely on FanDuel too. But 5,400, I mean, last season, barring the playoffs, I mean, he was playing a bunch of minutes for OKC. So I really love Hardenstein, one of my favorite plays on the slate. And then, yeah, I think Chet is fine. And I love the shutout there. If you're not playing SGA, I mean, OKC's probably going off. If he's not going off, it's got to be other players. So I think you can kind of make a rule there, get at least like 2 to 3 players in if you're not playing SGA.
Yeah, and one guy that the model does not like, but the field does seem to be getting to, is Ajay Mitchell. I mean, we've seen him get run from time to time. I do think he's someone who's going to maybe push 20 minutes here. We have him around 15. Do I feel good about it? No. I'd certainly rather get to these other guys we're talking about. I do think he's at least worth mentioning, though. We also have Jalen Williams with an eye popping in the model, only 12 minutes, though. So if I'm choosing between those two, it's definitely a Jai. I think he has a path to more minutes, especially if we see Caruso a little bit limited. But before we move on to the next game, anything else here for OKC? Obviously, at the end of the show, for those who are tuning in for the first time, we will do a dummy build on DK, maybe FanDuel as well, since we might have extra time today. Only 2 games. Shouts out to, I think, Chuck and Smitty tomorrow doing the 12 gamer. But yeah, plenty of time for us today to really get into these rotations.
I just wanted to ask you, Nick, how would you rank these chalky guys? Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, and we'll put in Wiggins. How would you rank those 3 for people?
Wiggins is one for me on FanDuel. On DK, it's close between Caruso and Wiggins. I think I would lean Caruso. Ugh, it's close. And the thing is, like, I'm ranking Dort third just because I think he has the lowest floor, but I don't know. He probably has just as high of a ceiling. So I'll go Wiggins, Caruso, Dort, but it's not like there's a wide margin there. I mean, the model actually is Dort, Wiggins, Caruso. But again, I think the floor for Caruso is a little bit scary, especially since he's over 50% owned, because who's to say his minutes ceiling isn't going to be 26 plus, maybe like it was in the playoffs. I think we could see him closer to 20, even with Jalen out. But again, we don't know. I mean, first game of the year, it's tough to say. How are you ranking those 3?
I think I'm with you. I really like Wiggins. So I'm going to put Wiggins. I'm going to put Dort because I think he probably, if he stays out of foul trouble, he should be out there a bunch. So I'm going to put Wiggins, Dort, then Caruso for me.
Yeah, and it's funny. We didn't group Wallace in with those guys, but I actually think his floor might be as high as any of them if he's starting. So definitely keep an eye on that lineup. Anyone in chat or Jayhawk, if you see it, feel free to let us know how that OKC lineup looks. We should be getting it any minute now. All right. Let's take a few more chats here. Jose, question on Kuminga. About to get to that game, and we'll definitely talk through that. SGA, very doable. Excuse me. Curious if Amen could do a decent job. I mean, he'll slow him down, but you guys got to remember, one-on-one matchups in the NBA in 2025 are a little bit overrated. I mean, teams definitely kind of create screens. They do a good job kind of switching positions. I mean, you look at that Houston lineup, everyone's 6'11" except one guy. I mean, they're going to be moving around for their own offense to make things happen for a guy like KD. I think OKC can't really do that to the same extent, but SGA gets the line so easily. I don't know. I wouldn't want to weigh it too heavily personally, Chris. I don't know, Jayhawk, if you had any thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I think Chuck put this really good last year. I think, they're definitely something to like note for, but I mean, the top players are obviously the top players for a reason, right? So I still think SGA without Jalen Williams, so hard to overlook even with that matchup.
Yeah, Jose saying Caruso could do a better job on Durant. Yeah, he's going to get some time on him. I think historically, and obviously Durant's on a new team, so it's tough to say for sure. They put Dort on him when he was with I can't even remember where he's been playing, Phoenix. But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. But yeah, I mean, obviously they want Caruso's defense out there when they need him. Like, he'll close in a close game, in which case I do think he'll get to 26 minutes. But if it's a 10-point game, like in the fourth, I don't know that he ends up closing. So on FanDuel, you're playing both Shai and Luka. One or the other, man. I think if you put in both, you're really going to be struggling with some of the value. I slightly prefer Luka. The model's telling us SGA, though. But if this ownership projection is real, I mean, that's big enough of a gap for me to kind of make that pivot. Jayhawk, any additional thoughts there for Sid?
Yeah, so on FanDuel, I think Luka's price is a little bit higher, right? So I would say I'd probably still lean Luka at the ownership discounts, but I think it's a lot closer on FanDuel for me.
Yeah, message from Thug in here saying sheet's hard to read. Yeah, we're going to work on the production. We're pretty happy that we got new mics and everything going, so hopefully better than some of the speed bumps we had last year, but I'm going to zoom in. Hopefully that helps a little bit, Duggan. Good question here from David. Been playing 3, 5, 10, 20, 100-man leagues at FanDuel. I think it's best to go with very chalky. maybe 1-2 low owned player. Yeah, those contests to me are low risk, David. I think you could kind of build them as cash games. So you're going to start with chalk, and if there's one or two plays you don't like that are popular, maybe that's where you find your pivots. But yeah, I would kind of handle those as kind of cash games. Luke here saying he is indeed playing both Luke and SGA on FanDuel. The value is there to build around them. So, I mean, it is possible. You're going to be holding your breath on some of these guys. Um, LJ with him on that one as well. Are we concerned about Houston playing slow on a 2-game slate, Carmen? Not really. I mean, we only have a few games to choose from. If we had the 12 gamer like they're going to tomorrow, maybe it's something we think about a little bit more. And also, we need to keep in mind pace is going to change. Like going into last year, I know Portland was a team that used to play fast. They ended up slow. Cleveland used to play slow. They ended up fast. So we got to kind of proceed with caution and see how some of these teams are going to look. Michael here shouting out AR. Smart could be a sleeper. But yeah, let's get into the next game here. We got the Lakers and the Warriors. This game taking place in LA. No LeBron, obviously. Taking a quick look at the injury reports. Jimmy Butler's probable, as is Kuminga. No Melton or Moody, which does matter a little bit. We'll talk about that in a moment. But let's start on the away side. We got the Golden State Warriors here, obviously with Curry. I was talking about that new rule. I don't think he's a true pivot off of SGA or Luka, but I definitely like him more than I like getting to Jimmy here, even for a little bit more. On FanDuel, there's only $100 difference in their price, so that's a little bit crazy to me. This is another team we're waiting on the starting lineup. We did get word that Kuminga could be sliding in. We're trying to take Steve Kerr's word at face value, so proceed with caution in doing so. Most sites had Horford projected at the 5. We could see Draymond slide down to the 5 here in order to get Kuminga in there next to Butler, Pods, and Curry. So something to keep an eye on. But yeah, man, I like Curry here more than the field on DK. I will say that. On FanDuel, about on where it should be. Pods, I think, maybe over-owned on DK. But yeah, this is tricky. I like Kuminga if he starts, but obviously he gets into Kerr's doghouse pretty fast. So I think we got a question earlier. Did we like Jabari or Kuminga? I would still lean Jabari even if Kuminga starts. But Steve Kerr, man, not fun for us DFS players, but how you kind of picking apart this Golden State rotation?
Yeah, so starting with Steph here, I agree. He's definitely obviously third to SGA and Luka, but at that ownership, if you can't get up to one of SGA or Luka, I think he looks great. Great matchup against LA. Historically, pretty good against LA. I mean, obviously he had that huge game on Christmas Day. But yeah, I think he looks awesome at his ownership, like you mentioned on DraftKings. And then I do really like Kuminga in tournaments. I think the uncertainty with his minutes really gives him a great GPP appeal here. Because if he plays 25 plus, I mean, he's too cheap, in my opinion, in this spot. So I love Kuminga in tournaments. And then to answer your question about Jabari versus Kuminga, I think Jabari is probably safer for 25 fantasy points. But if Kuminga gets those minutes, man, he probably has the higher upside, in my opinion.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, Kuminga, if he starts, he does have a very high ceiling. The usage won't be the same as we saw with Butler out at times last year, but we know what he's capable of. The price is reasonable on both sides as well. There are a few big pricing discrepancies on this team between the two sides. I think Buddy Hield is one we need to highlight. Don't want to play anybody Hield at 5,800 on DK personally. Obviously, extra points for the threes. I don't think it matters. But on FanDuel, at just 4,200, maybe a decent pivot off some of that OKC chalk if you do need the value. Who else are we looking at here? I've already mentioned Pods, more than a 1K gap between the prices on the two sites. Someone I wanted to ask you about, and he rates as the best value play on DK, is Gary Payton. So with Moody and Melton both out, I think we could see Payton play 15 to 20 minutes. He's a guy who historically pushes a fantasy point per minute. I mean, gets rebounds, assists. He kind of does everything. Not someone I'm excited to get to, but if you are trying to jam in studs on this slate, I think you could do worse than a very low-owned Gary Payton. Any thoughts on him, or do you have any other pivots in this bench for Golden State?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we did just spoil my low play of the day here on Discord. Gary Payton, I think he looks awesome, especially if you want to get an SGA and Luka. So I think he looks great. No Moody. I mean, I think he could come in for multiple reasons, stay in for defense. So I love Gary Payton. 20 minutes, doesn't need much on a 2-game slate. So yeah, I love him in tournaments at that ownership.
Yeah, man. I think most of the minutes that Curry's not on the floor will have Gary Payton on the floor. I honestly trust him a little bit more than Buddy, even in less minutes, just because he kind of does more than just score. So, love to hear that you're in lockstep with me on that one. And also at low ownership, I think it's just a really good play. Even 20 minutes out of Gary Payton could push 20 fantasy points, which could open up maybe those Luca and SGA lineups, or Luca with someone like Durant. I don't know. But yeah, I think Golden State's fine here. These two games, I do want to mention, have pretty much the same total. So we were talking about maybe Houston playing slow earlier. I don't think it necessarily matters. Again, no real discrepancy between the two totals here. But let's talk about LA a little bit. A little bit tricky here with no LeBron James. DeAndre Ayton coming into the fold seems to have a chip on his shoulder, a lot to play for. Field isn't really getting to him, though. Reasonably priced. Obviously, Luca without LeBron is always going to look tremendous, but he seems locked in, lost some weight. I don't know, a little bit of muscle definition on our boy here. Cover boy of the day as well. We got Austin Reeves drawing a ton of ownership. He's probably going to see plenty of usage, even with Luca on the floor. I mean, this is another team we need to wait on the starting lineup. I think we're going to see Gabe Vincent. I know Chuck and I were talking about this in the company Slack. It should probably be Smart next to Luca, though, for the sake of defense. But I don't know. I think we're probably going to see Vincent here. He had some really good preseason games shooting wise. Not that that's something we necessarily want to rely on, but obviously love Luca here. Kind of similar to OKC in lineups without Luca. I'd be looking to get a little bit more LA guys like Reeves, Ayton. I think Rui's a solid pivot. If we don't get Kuminga starting, you could just go to a cheaper Rui and secure those 30 minutes. But how you feeling about LA, man? A little bit tricky with no LeBron. Obviously, we have to like some Luka and Reeves, though.
Yeah, I already kind of talked about Lucas. I won't go into too much stuff there. Awesome play, obviously. AR-15, we kind of talked pre-stream. I think he looks really good, especially in lineups who don't have Luca. So love getting to him in GPPs. DeAndre Ayton, he's kind of my stanton on LA, especially on DraftKings, 6.3K. I'm at least double the field here. I think he's potentially going to be the Gafford Luca combo that Luca had in Dallas. So I love Ayton in tournaments. And then, yeah, I think Rui looks great at the ownership. Another guy you can mix in that mid tier. So that's kind of the route I was looking at.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't know. I don't mind Vincent knowing he's going to get minutes, assuming he's going to start. Do I feel good about it? No. But when we're playing these really cheap guys, you guys got to keep in mind it's more to open up what else you can do with your lineup. And if we're sorting by value in the model, let me even pull out LA here. Vincent actually rates as the top DK value play on the slate. Over on FanDuel, he's right behind Wiggins and Smith. So the model's telling us to get to some Gabe tonight. Obviously, we're pretty high on Gary Payton, but I'm probably going to get to some Vincent as well in Stars and Scrubs build and just kind of hope he starts and hits a few threes. Anything else from LA you want to talk about? Obviously, Jackson Hayes probably going to be the first big off the bench. Vanderbilt could close in a tight game. Laravia is definitely a question mark here. A guy we've seen get hot from time to time. A little bit more popular than maybe he should be on DK. Maybe not popular enough on FanDuel. But again, first game of the year, a lot of question marks going in. But how you feeling about these secondary guys?
Yeah, so I think the other two guys kind of looking towards here are Vincent and Laravia. Vincent, I think, is fine. I do prefer Gary Payton, I think, but the model does prefer Vincent, so definitely something to note there. Um, and then in terms of Laravia, he's more of kind of a filler piece for me, 3,600. Um, Pretty chalky, but if you land on him, I think he's a fine play. Obviously, no LeBron, so he should get a couple extra minutes here.
Yeah, I prefer Vincent and Peyton. The issue is their guards and Laravia is a forward, so I think that kind of explains why he's drawing the ownership he is. We got some questions coming in here. This one, I think it depends on if Kuminga starts or not. If he does, it's probably Kuminga. But Kuminga or Draymond for you?
I'm gonna say Kaminga, but I think Draymond's fine in tournaments, but I do lean Kaminga. How about you?
Yeah, I feel the same. If you're playing those small field contests, though, or low risk as we call them, I think Draymond is the higher floor. But yeah, I think Kuminga definitely has a higher ceiling for tournaments. Is Vandy going to get any run here? Question from Chris. We have him for 20 minutes. I think that's fair. Good defender, can space the floor, can shoot threes from time to time. I don't know that it's someone you want to rely on. But again, forward definitely tougher to fill as far as value goes tonight. Don't mind him a little bit. Probably think his minutes are safer than Laravia's as well. The model has them pretty damn close. But yeah, you got any takes on Vanderbilt? Who do you prefer out of him and Laravia?
I think in terms of like player and DFS upside, I do prefer Laravia, but they might trust Vanderbilt a little bit more at the start here, potentially with Laravia just coming on. So I'm gonna say Laravia for upside, but it's really close.
Yeah, two comments here from Jose and Barry, kind of hand in hand. I think somebody unexpected is going to open up when there's an injury to someone. It happens every year. I mean, I hope not, man. First game of the year. Barry, these guys never really ramp up right away, so expect a lot of rotating guys in and out. Yeah, I mean, OKC, especially as a team that likes to run really deep rotations. I'm just going to pull up the lineups on my other screen here. I don't know how deep we see Houston go into the bench. Kerr is Kerr. I mean, we could see guys like Santos Post getting minutes. Who really knows with him? Um, and then the Lakers. I mean, they do have Connect. They do have Brody. I wouldn't rely on either of them for any sort of minutes here. The guys we've talked about, I think, are probably the better way to go. But again, everyone, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into a dummy build, Jayhawk, and then if there's anything else you kind of want to dig into, we can. But let's start on DK. Oh, Reddick already announced the starters on the 17th. Michael, so is it indeed going to be Gabe Vincent? I think that's what we'd have to expect, right? So, one question from Bap here: Curry with Luka or SGA with Curry? I mean, I would lean Luka. I mean, there's a little bit of correlation there, but again, I just slightly prefer Luka here if you have the salary. Any thoughts on that one, Jay?
Yeah, I would probably say Luca, but they're both solid.
Good question here from Nick. Is TJD in basketball hell forever? I mean, with the addition of Horford, I think he is. And it seems like he's behind Post on the depth chart now as well. So we had some great games out of him last year. Hopefully he gets traded or something. But Steve Kerr, man, I don't know what it is. Like some of these young guys, he gets on their bad side and they never get off. But let's start with these dummy builds. And we can take a few more questions, guys, as you get them in. All right, let's see here. So should we start with value? Should we start with Luka? Are we jamming one or the other? How do you want to go about this?
Let's start with Luka. I mean, I can't not play him tonight.
Yeah, let's see again. Guard, yeah. And obviously, guys, having these bottom spots be the later game, it kind of gives you more maneuverability if you need to, if lineups change or anything like that. Jose here, yeah, see Kerr playing 13 guys, hard to nail down that team. Even in the playoffs, at times it's hard to nail down that team, but that's neither here nor there. Favorite value plays? It sounds like we both really like Peyton.
Yeah, Peyton, and I was going to say Aaron Wiggins too.
Love it. Yeah, Wiggins even easier to get to on FanDuel, guys. I wouldn't be afraid if he's not starting. I think they're going to rely on his scoring a little bit, especially off the bench. All right, we're left with 6K per. Peyton, too. Shooting guard definitely harder to fill than point guard tonight. Keep that in mind. Where do we want to go with center? I know pre-stream we talked about Ayton a little bit. I think we could see extra run for Hartenstein. I don't know that I want to use my center spot for Jabari. Maybe we throw him at forward, but how you feeling about the bigs?
Yeah, I was going to say I like Hardenstein too. He's probably my favorite point per dollar here. Hardenstein or Aiden probably for me.
Yeah, let's go Hartenstein, and then we'll throw maybe Smith in a power forward.
Love it. Love it.
Cool. All right, we got point guard forward. Since we're not playing SGA, I kind of want to get Chet in there. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. We still have a point guard and a utility to fill as well.
Yeah, I like Chet a bunch tonight, especially if we're not playing SGA.
Okay, then 6'3" per. I mean, Eamon's going to leave us with really not bad. I mean, if we go Eamon, what's 46? Caruso, Dort. I mean, this ain't bad. Something like this. And obviously, again, guys, I would flip Luka with Caruso. You want your late guy in utility so you have more options. Obviously, having guards and forwards in the late game as well. Maybe move the late guys into those spots. But this is a pretty damn good lineup. We do have time, I think, to get one over on FanDuel as well. So let's take a look over here. Again, I think we want to start with Wiggins at 3,900. That price is just insane to me. You can play him at small forward or power forward. Since we went Luke on DK, let's go SGA over here for the sake of I don't know, variety. Who else are you trying to get to over on FanDuel?
Ooh, let's see here. Let me sort by FanDuel value.
Casey asking Wallace or Caruso on FanDuel.
Let me go back here. Let's go with Wallace here because we want Caruso on DraftKings.
Yeah, Wallace is really cheap over here as well compared to DK. All right. We didn't do it on DK. It's a little bit ballsy, but 3,900 for Steven Adams to open some things up definitely makes a lot of sense to me. Don't mind going to him. Then we're left with 7,300 per. If there's anyone you want to prioritize, we could even fit another pay up, I think.
Yeah, we could go. Actually, we already have SJ. Let's go with let's see. I don't want to
Reeves
play
with no
Jimmy.
Luka.
Yeah, let's go Reeves.
Jimmy.
Let's go Reeves. I
Yeah,
don't want
honestly,
to.
I
I don't
think we
want
could
to.
do both. You don't want Jimmy?
Yeah, I think Jimmy just scares me. I don't know, man. With him
Yeah,
being
he get a
injured.
50 or 5. He's that guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, compared to DK, the KD price isn't bad. I don't love the spot, but I don't know. I mean, this is pretty damn good as far as balance goes. Then power forward. I mean, Rui's really cheap. We could throw Jabari in there, and then we're left with another pay up. I think we could get to Curry over here. Yeah, I mean, we're left with we got a lot of salary left. We could upgrade something too. I mean, 1,400. It's pretty damn easy to build on FanDuel tonight, is what I'm getting at.
For sure.
I'd still rather leave Wallace. Maybe pull Rui. But yeah, very easy to build on FanDuel tonight. Hopefully they tighten their pricing a little bit as we get into the season here. We've been seeing crazy scores in like NFL. It's just too easy to fit everything. All right, let's get back to some of these questions, guys. We already answered that one. Sengun better on DK or FanDuel? I think it's going to be. I mean, he's low owned on both. I think it's DK just because you could play two centers. Do you have a take there? It's kind of neutral for me. I like him both sides, but I don't know that he stands out on one over the other.
Yeah, I think he's kind of great on both sides in tournaments. I think on FanDuel with the 3 point for block and steal, maybe you could give him a slight edge there. But again, DraftKings you get two centers, so and that double bonus, right? So yeah, it should be pretty even, I think.
Yeah, I'm over here checking for news right now, right? And we Ime Udoka said the Rockets won't watch the Thunder's ring ceremony. We'll take our guys back while they're doing their celebrating, get us some motivation for our own self, and try to ruin their night. So, Ime and
Yeah, what's that all about, man?
yeah, man, I don't know. He's an interesting guy. Prince asking, do we see Adams getting enough minutes? I mean, OKC's big. I think he's going to play 20 or so here. What do we have him for in the model? Enough at his price, yes. Will he be optimal? I'm not sure. I think he's okay. I'm fine getting to a decent amount of Adams. I just wouldn't expect more than 22. But any takes there, Jayhawk? Ownership seems to have come down on him a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's super interesting because, if he stays on the court, he's a decent producer. 21 minutes, I don't hate it. I do prefer other centers overall, but I think he's fine to mix in that 20% where he's at.
Yeah, I don't mind it. And honestly, this is a little bit like galaxy brain thinking, but I think with Sengun having to kind of run the offense a little bit more, maybe that creates a bit more rebounding opportunity for Adams and Smith. We'll have to wait and see. We don't really have data on that, but just something to keep an eye on because, again, Sengun's been doing a lot of quarterbacking for that offense with what's his name? Van Fleet out. Adams from Unicorn will give you 29. 29 would be damn good. He's a few of my lineups. Oh, 20. Yeah, I think that's a bit more accurate. But yeah, guys, another couple minutes here. Was kind of hoping we'd get maybe a couple more lineups to talk through, but instead we just get Ime Udoka with his Braveheart quotes here, whatever the hell you want to call it. But yeah, guys, as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are back. We're going to be live every day, depending on when lock is. I think mostly 5:45 to 6:30. Obviously, if it's an hour earlier or later, we'll adjust. Weekend hours are going to be a little bit different. But in addition to the stream, we have Jayhawk in the Discord today. It'll often be Jayhawk or Smitty, I think. 30 minutes before lock, talking through lineups, any last-minute changes, good things like that. Again, that's in the Discord voice channel. You also get access to the model that you see here, which I did not refresh throughout the video, but it does refresh in real time. Things could change very quickly as some of these lineups come out. We also have a multi-lineup builder behind the paywall as well. If you're someone looking to try MME, very easy to use that and get access to. We also have strategy guides, tons of great stuff, but we're going to be grinding all season. Question here from David: with a 6.5 point spread in Rocket Thunder game, is blowout a concern? No, not for me. Yeah, usually the rule is like over 10, 11 points, you start to think about blowouts, so it wouldn't even enter that conversation to begin with. And then, David, on a 2-game slate, I just think it's kind of irresponsible to even worry about it at all. I will say in tournaments, you could really heavily game stack one game or the other, hope it goes double OT and print from there. But yeah, other than really chasing something large field like that, I wouldn't look too deeply into it. Any thoughts on that, Jayhawk? Do you ever really worry about blowouts? I mean, on a bigger slate, I guess I would, but 6.5 points wouldn't even get to my radar.
No, and I'd even say, just going off what you said, I think even closer to 15 points is where I'd really even start, considering that.
Yeah, closer to 15. Can we play Eason and Jabari together? Prince, I would say yes, because Eason can do a lot, even with limited minutes. He's coming off the bench, even if he's capped around 25. We have Smith for 30 plus. I'm fine with it. And yeah, Power, the spread got wider or narrowed. Either way, 7.5, 6.5 doesn't matter. Favorite punt play, I think for both of us, again, sorting by value, it's going to be Vincent today, right? No one seems to be getting to him. I like him a lot, or not Vincent, Peyton. Excuse me. We like Gary Payton. We don't mind Gabe Vincent either. Anyone else you want to talk about as a punt? I think Adams at center is good.
Adams, maybe some Laravia on DraftKings. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Nick, let's
Go ahead.
I was just saying, let's have you go your favorite expensive, mid tier, and then favorite value. Let's go one of each. When you get the chance.
All right. I'm gonna go Luca. I think him or SGA, you can't really go wrong either way. Mid tier. On FanDuel, I like KD. On DK, I like Chet. And I like Chet a lot too because I'm going with Luca. And then for value, if you're going to be Gary Payne, I'll go Gabe Vincent and just hope he hits a few threes. It's gross. He could do nothing. But I think him and then Wiggins as well, regardless of whether he starts or not. But yeah, hit me with the same.
Let's go. I'm going to go Luca top. And the mid tier, let me find someone I like here. I'm going to go DeAndre Ayton. And for value, this is tough. It's not Gary
Payton's your guy. I gave him.
Yeah. I'll say Payton, but honorable mention. Let's go. I love Laravia as a DFS player, so I'll say Laravia.
Yeah, I mean, Laravia is about as boom bust as it gets. We don't really know what his minutes are going to look like. The ceiling could be huge for him. I'll say the same for Shepard. I'm not expecting him to be 1 or 2% owned, but he could get hot and maybe see some extra run. Nick asking how much salary is too much left over. On a bigger slate, I would say don't leave much at all. On a slate like this, it is a decent way to get different. I don't know, 500. I wouldn't go 1K. NBA pricing tends to be a lot tighter. It's the most projectable sport, period, for DFS. So keep in mind, usually things are going to be relatively accurate. But on a 2-gamer as a way to get different, I'd say maybe 5 to 1K, but I'm not leaving a ton of salary personally tonight. Jayhawk, any thoughts on that question?
Yeah, 2-game slate, yeah, I wouldn't leave too much. I mean, I'd say up to like 500 is the max I would go with.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Unicorn, not much talk about Pause from Golden State. Yeah, I just think he's overpriced on DK. I know the field's not getting there. He could get hot, but playing next to Jimmy and Draymond and Curry, it's just tough for him to do as much as we necessarily need him to. On FanDuel at 5,700, I don't mind it. But again, he's almost 40. He's almost 50% over there. So Pause is fine, Unicorn, but he's kind of like the last guy in for me. Not something I'd really be rushing to get to, especially if Kuminga starts too. That's even less usage.
Yeah, Paul's on DraftKings is really tough to get to, man. FanDuel, I get it, but that DraftKings price is crazy, man.
Yeah. We do have luck at 7:30 Eastern today, so a little bit later, but we're going to get out of here, guys. As always, appreciate you. You follow me on Twitter at Nick Marro DFS, here with DFS Jayhawk. As always, with Occupy Fantasy, let's have some fun tonight, make some money. Good luck and take care.
Good luck, guys.